Namaskar. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to my show, Sharp Conversation, Season 2, Episode 1. Season 1 की शुरुआत हुई 2020 के pandemic जब शुरू हुआ उस समय. And it was hugely received with a lot of success and love and affection by the viewers on Facebook as my live sessions. And it also had an extremely impressive lineup of very inspiring, influential personalities from different walks of life, sharing their enriching testaments of greatness and triumphs, overcoming challenges and breakdowns, and eventually talking about where they are today at the pinnacle of their success and stature in their respective lives. Today, I'm delighted to commence my Season 2 of Sharp Conversation with an invitation from 10 News, which is a globally popular digital news channel, to collaborate with them and reach out to their audiences in India and overseas. This will happen fortnightly with a lot of new, fascinating personalities deconstructing their experiences and eclectic journey of their lives. They will be thought-provoking sessions with great insights to inspire, and I will also try and make it a little bit of fun by nudging my guests to also showcase their innate talents, because many of them have some hidden talents which I would love to, penetrate into and ask them to showcase. So, quick introduction about myself. My name is Deepali Narula. I'm going to be the host for Sharp Conversation. I'm a marketing and events and hospitality professional and have been working for the last 2 decades and more, both nationally and internationally. And today I have also become a transformation coach, basically with expertise in helping people wherever they feel stuck in life or they feel shackled. And my attempt is to basically make them self-aware, self-dependent, and self-reliant. So I'm going to now commence the show and take you back to August 2019, while I was attending a coaching conclave, which was being conducted by my mentor, Mr. Arfin Khan, who is the world-renowned peak performance coach. And there, when I went for the coaching conclave, the first day I entered this room and I saw this very tall, dynamic, very charismatic lady there, whom, of course, I couldn't miss because of her aura. We got down to meeting, we got down to talking, and then, of course, our friendship grew. Today, we are also, of course, doing some projects together. And having worked with her so closely and watching her accomplishments, it was only befitting for me to bring her as my guest for Season 2, my first guest for Season 2. Particularly, we have just, witnessed the International Women's Day. So who better than my guest today, who absolutely personifies a lot of grit and commitment while truly also contributing to empower a lot of other people selflessly in India and abroad. She has great global appeal and recognition and is loved by many. Her name is Dr. Kuijeit Uppaal, and I'm going to request you to help me to invite her. There she is. A warm welcome, Kuiljeit.
Thank you so much, Deepali. Good evening, everyone. I am delighted to be here on Sharp Conversation. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an absolute delight.
Lovely. And before we go into our conversation, I'm going to give a quick background of introduction of Dr. Kuijeit Uppaal. Viewers, Kuiljeit is world's first image scientist, an impact strategist, an author, an educationist, an international speaker, and founder and CEO of an organization called KRIA. She's a multifaceted personality, a trailblazer for self-enhancement, and recipient of many awards for world of innovation, education, and social impact. She's also an aviator, an entrepreneur, a creative director, and also works for creating a robust ecosystem and policies for empowerment of women globally as well, and as an impact strategist, she strives to make a powerful difference to the persona and image of individuals and enhance life skills across the globe. So without taking more time, Kuljeit, I'm going to take a leap into my conversation with you right away. And I'm sure it's going to be a very inspiring session. And by the end of it, perhaps you'd be able to tell us who we really are and what we can be with your great insight that you're going to be sharing with us. So,
thanks for all those kind words.
Any opening remark, and then thereafter I'm going to get into my session with you.
Opening remark is just that I am so excited. This is great, and I'm happy that we are on this platform, 10 News Live. So this is really nice. It's my first time with 10 News, and the first time we are talking officially on a channel of this kind. So I'm really excited. And yeah, let's just rock. Let's just do whatever we have to do.
Great. So I'm going to take you back a little bit. We know that you're born into a Sikh family. Your parents were a source of enormous support and encouragement. So let's hear it from you about your formative years and how were you so enthused with so many interests? What was Kuiljeit like and what really interested her in her early years of life?
Okay. Right. So let me then start from the beginning, my identity, which is my name. I was named Kuiljeit, obviously, by my parents, but I think the thought that went behind it was Kul can be the smallest unit, right? It's family. And it can also be the biggest unit, which is the world. My father wanted me to conquer the world in terms of the hearts of the people, right? So conqueror of the world, that's what my name means. And he wanted me to kind of conquer the hearts of the people of the world. So that's where it started off. I belong to the defense background, in the sense my father was in the Air Force. And like any other typical defense officer's, story, you have kids, you take them along, you keep getting transferred every 2-3 years, you're moving from one city to the other and so on and so forth. So education has been all over the countryside. And I've made friends, and then we've had to part again, and then made friends, and again part, and so on and so forth. We've learned how to adjust. I think that's the biggest thing in terms of, the background that I'm talking of, the defense forces. So one is you really learn something called discipline in a very, very true sense of the word. And also the fact that you speak straight. I remember my dad always, speaking really straight. So I think that's what I am today. I'm simple, straight, high energy person, very basic person. I'm a very basic person. I don't have like tall dreams of that kind, in terms of wealth and all kinds of stuff. I'm very happy. You give me an apple, I'm very content. I'm very happy. So it's like really, really simple. Childhood was beautiful. I have 2 siblings, an elder sister and a younger brother. And like any other, I think, family, we've had our own share of pleasures as well as fights and so on and so forth and all of that. The good thing is that childhood taught me to keep adapting, as I said earlier. But apart from that, because of us constantly changing places and friends and the environment, I think we became more explorative by nature. But apart from that, I think I was born with a bug in my head, which I call my curiosity bug, always wanting to learn, always. And that continues to stay and thrive in my head even today. So that bug, I think, made me very, very excited to keep on learning. So I'm trying to answer that question in terms of what really enthused all those interests in me. Apart from that, I think it's also important to have an environment that can nurture your interests. I think my parents were very supportive. Everything and anything I wanted to do, I was like, never told, don't do it. This is not meant for you. So I got the chance to start very young and explore n number of things in my own way. So childhood has really been good. Like I said, the curiosity has come because of, that bug. And I've been an avid learner. I've learned from people, from the environment, from nature. And I've loved, like I said, all of those things that I delved into, whether it was sports, adventure, dance, singing, instruments, painting, always looking for something new and interesting. So that's what my childhood has been. Really, really exciting.
It is a privilege to have parents like that. I resonate with that so much, Kuljeit, because I've had parents who did exactly that, gave us so much of freedom to explore and just go all out there. And
Yes.
likewise, so I understand exactly how important it is to, have parents who are there right behind you, giving you every opportunity to explore and make the most of your life, really. I have a lot of people who have now joined in. I'm going to quickly acknowledge them. Surya Juneja, Shobna Chaudhary, Tushar Juneja, Pushpa Agarwal, Rajeshri Jain, Rashmi Vaidilingam, Nivedita Tiwari. All of you are very warm welcome. I'm glad you all have been able to take out time and join us. So,
Wonderful.
Kuljeit, with this sort of environment where you were given so much of opportunity and liberty to explore, and like you said, your curiosity took you where all in whichever direction that you really wanted to go in. So you've achieved so much that I know of for sure, and you've been honored also during your journey within numerous awards and titles and honors and accolades. In fact, if I was to start naming them, आधा उसमें program निकल जाएगा. So
You're being
so
very kind.
so looking at the quantum of your achievements, one would wonder where you are. Were you really a born achiever? Do you see yourself as a born achiever? Did you face any challenges as well in life? And or did it all come very easy to you? So I would be very keen to know about that. Did you face any sort of challenges as well during your journey of achieving so much?
Okay, I'm a very cause and effect kind of a person. So I don't think anyone's really born an achiever from my perspective. And I was certainly not born an achiever because let me just share a little thing about my story. At 6 months of age, I was afflicted with polio in my leg. And of course, nobody knew of it. It's only when I realized, not me, in fact, my parents realized that I took a long time to even stand up and start walking. And apart from that, when I got into primary school, I was not walking or running like any other normal kid does. And it was obviously a challenge. And I was made fun of, I was ridiculed, I was teased, and all of that. So I went past all of that. And I remember coming back one fine day to my dad and, asking him that, why do people laugh at me? What's wrong with me? I was young, right? So I didn't know really why they'd laugh at me. And I remember him telling me very, very confidently, straight in the eye, and telling me that there's nothing wrong with you. You're just as normal as any other person. There's nothing wrong with you. And I think what I did was, and I'm so glad I did that, I just took that entire bundle of whatever he said so deep into myself, into my heart, into my mind, that there was no looking back. Having said that, I also realized that as I was getting older, that yes, there was a difference. My father obviously loved me too much to say that, look, you're not walking normally, right? But at the end of the day, I knew I had to do something about it. So I realized that I have to really, really overwork to become normal, like the others, and probably work at a very phenomenal level to excel. So that's exactly what I did. I started working so hard on that leg. I would really, really work very hard to strengthen it. And I think with God's grace, and like they say, nothing can stop a person when you know that failure is never an option. You just want to make it and you will make it. So with that resolve, I realized very young in life that I had already moved to kind of fighting my own little battle against adversity. And as time went by, I think by the time I was about a few years in, I was a Kathak dancer, a Bharatanatyam dancer. I became a gymnast. I also turned a choreographer later, of course. I became a national level athlete. I led the All India NCC contingent. I was a parade commander in front of our then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. I was doing parasailing. I became a pilot. And so, in short, I became a disruptor, a healthy disruptor for myself, which I'm very happy that I did because I defied everything that needed normal legs, right? I mean, typically, nobody would believe that a girl who suffered from polio would ever be able to accomplish all that. And this was not to prove to anyone else. This was my journey. This is my stuff, right? So it was just about let me strengthen myself so well that nothing comes in the way. In fact, even more recently, for that matter, I mean, I don't think challenges have stopped for that matter. I remember more recently in life, I've had some bad injuries and accidents, and I was laid up in bed for months. I had a damaged back, broken knees and ankle, and there was lack of sensation in my arms, and I was being considered as a probable case for paralysis. And the moment I came to know of it, I think I just told myself, bloody hell, Kuijeit, you're not vegetating. There is no way you're going to do that. You have to come out of it. And it took me a month, hardcore work right from there. And I actually surprised my doctor. He was like, I don't know how she's done this. But I think that's what the power is of a human being. And I think I stand testimony to that in one way. So this healthy disruptor label I've got for myself, and I'm very happy with the way the journey has happened, because I know I work hard, really, really hard, and there are no shortcuts to success. So achievements have happened because I've really slogged it out. And I truly believe, like I said, my opening sentence was, I'm a person of cause and effect. So if I put in some effort, I know it will lead somewhere. So I'm typically always functioning out of that. Be it my husband also, by the way, who's in the armed forces. He's an army guy. So we've had postings. I've had breaks in my career. I've accepted it happily. But eventually, I never sat free. I was studying instead. If I didn't have the provision to be able to work, I was studying and investing in myself continually, growing and, kind of becoming. So I feel somewhere down the line, in terms of achievements, I've silently, in my mind and in my heart, I've honored my struggles. And when you do that, it just gives you more capacity and character, and also the ability to cope with things in a more easy manner. I'm my own benchmark today. I'm not in competition with anyone. Honestly, it's like my goal is only to beat my last performance, period. Be my best version. I always tell myself that. And I keep pursuing in my own way, whatever things I get into, I just make sure that I'm doing my 100%. I'm in that moment and I'm constantly doing I think that just takes me closer to being an achiever. That's what I've observed over the years. And fortunately, I have a few skills which are innate to me, and I've just kind of worked on them a little bit. So I think I just go by, there's a very beautiful quote of Nelson Mandela. He says, yes, I never lose. I either win or I learn. And I truly, truly have absorbed that, because I so believe that this is exactly how my life has been. I have never, ever lost. I know I either win or I learn. And I think that's the most important key for myself. It's like that somebody asked this Olympian high jumper, how do you jump so high? And he said, I just throw my heart across and my body follows. I do exactly that. I think I was very inspired when I heard him say that. So I'm just energized by challenges. It just takes me closer to achieving my dreams.
This is so inspiring. This is so inspiring. And this is a story of mastering your own mind and being a person with a lot of grit and commitment, and a commitment to oneself first rather than to anybody else. And and that is how you've been really able to surge throughout your life to be able to accomplish so much despite. And I think you have obviously made the most of the adversity and converted it into an opportunity in so many ways. I mean, this is phenomenal. This is so inspiring. So that is going to take me to my next question, and also wanting to know that you've been honored with the title of Genius Polymath for your expertise in multiple and diverse areas. As you grew into a young professional with varied interests, which cap did you really decide to adorn first? I mean, was it of an aviator, a creative director, an entrepreneur, an educationist, or an author? And also, of course, I also know that you've been an advisor to many organizations. So what were you most passionate about? I mean, I'm confused of, mentioning so many things. What were your choices like, and what were you most passionate about?
Okay, you'll find this funny. My initial career choice when I was in school was to be a geologist. I wanted to go down to the South Pole and work amongst the penguins there, on an Antarctica mission. And I actually landed up doing a master's in geology also, but I didn't complete it, so I don't have a degree. Forget that. I think 6 months short of finishing my geology, I had this hallucination of an aircraft right over the professor's head. And that aircraft was doing stalls and spins and aerobatics and whatnot. And it got me so excited. I think that's my one-time hallucination I've had in life. And I remember having come back to my dad that evening and sharing with him that, this is what I had. Strangely, I had no clue. My elder sister was already flying then. We're all a bunch of pilots in our family. And he just told me one thing. He said, "Bache, you're in the wrong line." And that was it. And that was the last I saw of my Masters of Geology. And I just packed my bags and there I was into flying. So if you look at the order of what happened after that, yes, I started with aviation and then I moved to advertising and then to media, then to IT and then to education, research, and eventually, of course, entrepreneurship alongside. So as far as the passion is concerned that you asked me in terms of what have I been more passionate about, that's a very tough one to say, actually. I've enjoyed every moment of life and learning. So it's very tough to kind of alienate one and say, okay, this has been the most. See, once a pilot, always a pilot. It's deep down in the heart. So I'm extremely, very passionate. I feel the need for speed. That's something that's innate. But regardless, I believe that every single area that I have delved into has made me grow and has given me tremendous amount of happiness. And it's also given me a lot of evolution. For example, flying, like I said, apart from the joy it's given me, has taught me to kind of dare to dream and just, explore the galaxies, literally, and just enjoy yourself. And of course, it gives you that sense of control in your own way. So it's a high of a different kind. As a creative director, I think I had all my creative juices ushering their way all over the place. I was into voiceovers, that's of course additional. But apart from that, in my creative work, I was making ad films, I was doing creative copy, I was making all kinds of stuff in the creative space. And I loved it because I was exploring myself. It just made me kind of understand myself a little better than I ever did. And it just made me very happy. As an entrepreneur, it's a different journey altogether. You look at entrepreneurship from a different lens altogether. It's a challenging thing to be in, the world just comes back onto you. You may be having a corporate employee label for N number of years, but the moment you turn entrepreneur, you're at ground zero and you kind of reinvent the wheel. So that was something. And then facing challenges of a different kind altogether. Also learning how to kind of, mediate and maneuver between some elements of flexibility and rigidity and so on and so forth. Entrepreneurship taught me that. As an educationist and a researcher, I think it's taught me a lot of humility because the more you explore knowledge, you realize how little you know. And I'm very happy in that role. I'm really, really very happy in that role because I think it's good to remain very humble. No matter how much you know, I know and I'm not just saying this because I want to sound good, I know very little because I've explored that world out there and I know there is so much more to learn. So, like I was just sharing the other day with someone who's asked me a question and I said, I've truly respected Einstein's, theory of inversely proportional is the knowledge with the ego. I never want to be egoistic about the little I know. So I just want to stay very humble and I'm an avid learner. So I'm just delving constantly. And that's what being an academician and researcher has taught me. As an author, again, of course, it's the creative juices. As an advisor to many organizations, as you said, I think interpersonal skills is something that is the order of the day today. It's all a world of collaboration. And it's great to engage with people. Also, your horizons and your perspective to life and people widen when you're interacting with people. Through their journeys, through their perspectives, you learn so much more and you become wiser. So I think everything has been beautiful for me, seriously. So I can't really mention one. I'm sorry, I can't take one pick.
Yes, and somebody has beautifully mentioned in the remarks, Pushpa Agarwal, her views reminds me of Swami Vivekanand. He said, "Utho badho, aur tab tak na ruko jab tak apni manzil ko na palo." So this is so appropriate to you. Surya Juneja said, "This is a learning for me."
Thank you, Pushpa. Yeah, that's really, really humbling. Yes.
Surya Juneja says that, this is a learning for me that it was possible to bounce back after polio. Kudos to her willpower. Aarti Mehra says, very interesting conversation. Farah Khan Pethe says the dynamic duo. Okay, thank you, Farah.
Thanks, Farah.
Some, people who are being extremely complimentary. The whole lot of them who have joined us. Nivedita says 2 superwomen. Oh, thank you, Nivedita. 2 superwomen on one. Super amazing. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going
Thanks
to...
to everyone.
Yes, Kuiljeit, I'm going to now come to the favorite topic, which needs certain elaboration for sure, because the first world's image scientist, I had to Google and see what it was, and it was a different definition altogether. This was the first time we met. Yeah, of course, then I discovered and I got to know in greater details. But you need to apprise people about being the world's first image scientist. Please apprise the audience about your subject of being the world's first scientist, image scientist.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And oh shoot, I wish it were the reverse. I wish I had done my research earlier than them. Jokes apart, this would have been the this would have been the structure on Google probably. But anyway, jokes apart. Okay, so the whole industry of image management, and this is for the audience, as you said. So lesser known to most people, there's a 7-level hierarchy of sorts. Okay, in terms of the required professional proficiency, education, and skills, and it starts with the basic of level 1 and goes right up to level 7, which is of the image scientist, which is where I'm standing today. So primarily, it starts with the personal shopper at level 1. Then you have a fashion stylist or a wardrobe stylist at level 2. You have an image consultant at level 3. You have an image management coach or a consultant at level 4. And then you have a branding specialist at level 5. You have an expressive image therapist at level 6. And the image scientist at level 7. Now, the differentiation here is the quantum of knowledge that the various levels have. Like I said, the professional proficiency. And what do they deal with, really? So, for example, a personal shopper is just somebody who has great intuitive ability of sorts and has good product awareness. So, he or she can guide you, in terms of just personal shopping. A fashion stylist would go a step beyond and also deal with, let's say, artistic elements of image. Then we look at an image consultant who will bring in some more aspects of, let's say, the social aspects, a little bit, very preliminary level of, a little bit of psychological and physical levels. And so does the image management coach, but at a next level, because it's about image management and it's not just image consultant. The branding specialist brings in a business element. And these are people who have got certifications, and it's at a bachelor's level. So this is like really basic, if I may say. Then at the master's level, you have the expressive image therapist who looks at the health issues related to image. And then the scientific elements and everything that I've already mentioned ahead is by the image scientist who is a PhD holder. By virtue of the fact that I'm the first and only image scientist as of now, I'm the only I'm the only PhD holder in the world. And the first one, I got my PhD a few years ago. So I have studied and researched the various aspects of image in any case. But like they say for a researcher, it's not only about the PhD. Research continues. I'm still researching. And so I have gone into the in-depth study even prior to my research of psychology, sociology, anthropology, semiotics, design, aesthetics, statistics, mathematics, what have you, all of those kind of things. And I've used a lot of those things also in my PhD, as I did my PhD in image management, and I created mathematical models. I have devised new concepts, empirically tested structures, come up with lots of definitions, come up with a lot of other things. So it's like a whole scientific study, and I've created the science of PRIM, which is persona and image management. Because our image management is one element, and as I think we will get deeper into it, we'll be able to probably tell you more. We'll talk about it. But as a researcher, like I said, I've been continuing this journey. And today I'm, apart from PhD and, of course, all the accolades that attached themselves to me, I didn't plan for this, by the way. I didn't know that there's nobody who had studied this subject academically. And so by default, I landed up being the world's first image scientist. So I was very happy because an Indian has kind of, made some kind of, what shall I say? Okay, I'm trying to sound modest a little bit now, but I'm happy that an Indian could bring this subject matter on the global platform and bring some kind of appreciation at a global level. So that, and then of course my inventions and innovations that I've been constructing over a period of time. So all of this put together is what exactly an image scientist does. I hope your audience is kind of now understood. So they don't have to get confused. The day I think there'll be more image scientists, and I'm actually nurturing some, by the way. There is a lady in Nigeria who was very mesmerized by me in one of the global conferences, and she said, I want to follow you. Can you teach me? And can you do this? And so I'm helping people to also be image scientists. So yeah, that's the journey, because knowledge is meant to be shared, isn't it? At the end of the day, what I'm not going to sit like a little snake over it and say, okay, you need our hair, and that's about it. It's meant to be shared. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if the audience is feeling a bit dizzy with all the things that Kuljeit has accomplished and that she's doing, I would suggest that you go to her website, check her out, and get to know a little bit more and understand and put everything in perspective, because they may actually be feeling a bit, dizzy in their mind, listening to what you are doing as the world's first image scientist. I mean, congratulations. Quite a feat. That's quite a feat. Now, Kuljeit, over the years, you've been also a part of the creation of a few hundred educational books. I mean, in the field of aviation, in the field of IT, personality development, English language learning, customer service, hospitality, travel and tourism, etc. And recently, you also launched your first book in your research area, which is Brim and Powerful, which makes for such an eclectic read for self-awareness and self-mastery of self-improvement and self-awakening in many ways of inside out as a person, and, leading to tremendous self-growth and success bases that. I mean, tell us about that. Just talk about it.
I am so delighted that you're speaking about my book, Prim and Powerful, and that's what our topic is today, being prim and powerful. And yes, this book was launched just at the eve of the Republic Day this year. So basically, oh, lovely. How nice is that? I love you for this, Deepali. Thank you. That's really sweet. Thank you. So basically, this journey, like I was sharing just a couple of minutes ago, remember about the image management and, how PRIM happened, for example. Now, PRIM is the acronym that I created for persona and image management. And just to make it simple for the viewers, probably, let me just say that PRIM is like a divine trident of sorts, which has 3 prongs to it. So we have persona, your personality, we have your image, and we have strategic self-management. So when we're talking of all of these 3 elements, they come together and create this holistic subject, if I may say, the science of PRIM in one way. I'm trying to make it sound as simple as possible, not trying to get technical here. So this work is all about your inside, which comes from your personality, right? And the outside, a large part of it comes from the image. And all of that building a strength so that you become, shall I say, impactful in your life outside. So the whole journey is about this, the journey of the book. It is about making you a true warrior from inside to outside. And I think that is the whole beauty, where you can build yourself. And I'm saying build, making yourself like an indomitable force of sorts, like a force of God in a way, where you are authentic and you have an understanding of your core values and your foundation very, very clearly. You have a vision, you plan, and you systematically build your ammunition for your journey ahead. So I think that's the whole, shall I say, modus operandi of the book. And so everybody who reads that book is supposed to kind of go past a journey, and I give a lot of power moves as you move along. It's got 20 chapters in the book. But the whole purpose here is to slowly and steadily keep building yourself where you can reach a stage where you're your own benchmark and keep raising the bar every single time. And most importantly, not give up. In fact, if you see the book, as you just showcased it to everyone, you must have noticed the byline. It talks of soar into the skies on the wings of confidence. And as an aviator, this is just natural for me to talk of, soaring into the skies, because you're in control of your aircraft and you see the heading right there and you start flying. And winds will try and push you here and there like life does, but you don't lose, right? Your entire focus is on your destination and you ensure that you get there. So it's like, building a bird that is sitting on a branch that's never afraid of the branch breaking, because its trust is not about the branch, its trust is on its own wings. And that's why I'm talking about, the belief that comes in as part of your journey through the book, where the whole situation comes down to build your self-confidence, because It's about being the first requisite to any great undertaking. If you're confident, you just pretty much are sorted. So this book actually emerged. And by the way, this book is an endeavor of mine towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, because I wanted to align it with what the Honorable Prime Minister was talking about. And I believe in my area of work, I'm talking about making everyone self-reliant. It's Atmanirbharta from within. It's only when every individual of the country becomes Atmanirbhar, then you move into, other domains and other industries and so on and so forth. So I'm here at the very nascence of this whole mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And the fact is that the FICCI Summit in 2013, I think, it came up with a very beautiful revelation that India will be one of the youngest nations, with about 140 million people in the college-going age group. 1 in 4 graduates in the world will be a product of the Indian higher education system. So my eyes popped up in delight when I read that. And I was like, wow, what an opportunity for the country. Just imagine such a young workforce. So I asked myself, Kuijeit, what can you really do for the country here? You read this, fine. What are you wanting to do? So I kind of changed my gear at that point. And I do a lot of work, by the way, with youth and students and professionals. And I wanted to reach the youth. I've been looking at impacting 1 million people in a decade's time. I've done about 1 lakh more right now, but the journey is on. I knew seminars will continue, but I can never, ever cover enough people. So I decided to write this book, Brim and Powerful, and let the book percolate into organizations, into universities, and let the book be like a step in the same direction, where I'm talking of Atmanirbharta, or a more self-reliant country. So I'm just trying to work on the future crop of the country. But apart from that, it's not only for this bracket of people. Anyone from, let's say, 8th standard, an 8th standard student, to maybe a retired person. In fact, the other day, somebody who had read the book, he was 67 years of age. He told me that I have benefited. I didn't know there was so much more. I thought I was kind of bang on. So I said, great. I mean, if you're adding something to yourself, why not? So the book is constantly trying to energize all the 6 core elements of image. It talks about your core value system, as I said, which helps you to, it gives you ways, by the way, there are n number of things that I've mentioned in the book, which will help you to kind of build yourself in a very critical manner, and very, very, shall I say, easy manner. It's simple, but very powerful. And so that's what the whole journey is about the book. Just unleash yourself, from within.
So I have, been going through the book. I have to tell the viewers, it's so simple to comprehend. You have picked up the most relevant topics and my immediate thinking and my understanding was that it was so much about mastering yourself, becoming aware of yourself, mastering yourself, and moving ahead with a lot more confidence and making a success for yourself. So viewers, do go out. You don't need to go out really today. You have it all on the Amazon. Sit at home, book your with Amazon, and get your book at home and go through it, read it. It's an extremely powerful book and very simple, not complicated with her scientific jargons, nothing, very, very simple to comprehend. Yeah.
Thank you for being all that kindness. Thank you, Deepali. Thank you so much. You're giving me a life testimonial of sorts. So thank you so much. And yes, that was an attempt, actually. I wanted everyone to benefit. And I knew a typical, researcher's jargon is very different. I've made it conversational. You've read the book. So I've made it like you're just, talking to me, like we're talking right now. And I'm hoping that it's making a difference to people who are reading the book.
Yes. So that takes me to the next question, Kuljeit. Please tell us about your scientific invention, PIQ. What is PIQ? We've heard of IQ and we've heard of EQ. You have to talk about PIQ. So tell me what it is really, because how should one be really doing a SWOT analysis of one's own personality and image and look at PIQ as the component for it?
All right. Thanks for that question. In fact, most people are not aware. Some people who have gone into trying to look at themselves and build themselves are aware of PIQ. So this invention of mine, PIQ, is basically persona and image quotient. It's a quotient, as you said, EQ and IQ. Yes, they are quotients. So it's not just a plain questionnaire or something. This is a statistically devised invention. So it's been over many, many months, in fact, for a few years. It's built on versions and it's been tested empirically for validity, for reliability. It's been tested on people and so on and so forth. So it's a quotient and it's a measure derived, like I said, from scientific and empirical testing and from various research methodologies. And it's been designed to assess and determine the persona and image of an individual. So the reason I thought of this is while I may give gyan and there may be a lot of people who might say things, but it's very interesting for people to know where do they stand so that they can determine point A and then from there move to point B, and pursue their journey to get better and better. So now this is exactly what PIQ helps you to do because, and I'm not going to share the insides of PIQ here, but I will definitely say that it runs past a 45 minutes odd test and you get a detailed 20-25 pages long, elaborate report after you've taken the test, which actually goes down to certain constructs and indicators. Oh, I'm using research jargon, but I'm sorry, there is no replacement to that. But largely speaking, let me just say that if I'm talking of the 6 elements of image, which is self-concept, grooming, clothing, etiquette, and so on and so forth. So all of these, this is like a very broad term. They all have n number of smaller, if I may say, sub-headlines of sorts. So for every single thing, every sub-headline, there is a determinant score. So you know exactly where you need to kind of, manage your act. What is it when you're doing verbal skills, for example? Where is it that you're not getting things right? Or what is it that you're deficient on? And so on and so forth. So PIQ is a very interesting, shall I say, invention for me, but for a user, it's a very interesting determinant of sorts that will help you to kind of, start your journey in terms of building your PRIM. So it's associated, like I said, with n number of factors. The advantage here is it's a great reckoner for everyone to identify their areas of improvement, like I said, and also to build the journey ahead. At the HR level, in terms of companies, I've seen people coming up and saying, this is a great thing. We can use it for our prospective candidates because they're using it like, you have interviews and you have psychometric analysis. So this is one of the analysis that people are now looking at to try and determine the PIQ score. There's an aggregate score and there are n number of scores. So they are actually figuring out, especially in the service industry, where people are trying to figure out, is this person actually a good fit for us? Because we don't know how good that person is in terms of those 6 elements. So it's a very convenient way of screening, and it's helping out companies also for their prospective candidates.
So I was, yeah. So while I was doing a bit of research, and I found some very interesting facts, very intriguing, in fact. That an image or communication, when we're trying to project an image or we're trying to communicate, one tries to, when one packages these aspects of one's personality, you get evaluated at 3 different levels. And I found that 55% of the impact gets created from one's appearance and body language, 38% from the tonality of your voice, and only 7% from the content that we speak. I mean, I would think it would be really the other way around, but these were very, very intriguing facts. I mean, please share insight on this. This is something very interesting to really know about. So just elaborate on this.
Yes, this was part of my research, in fact. So let me just say a certain sentence, because this was again quoted by someone during my research, quoted as in written documentation. So there's this researcher called Seeds. So she said, you cannot not communicate. And it's a very powerful sentence, right? You cannot not communicate, which means what? You're constantly emitting a message. You're constantly communicating. Yeah. So very interestingly, in the 1950s, a gentleman called Albert Mehrabian did a little research on this message, because this is a message that we're constantly communicating, whether it's through verbal communication or non-verbal. Even when you're just sitting in front of a person, you are emitting a message. So this interesting study that he did was to study the impact that the message makes. And that's exactly what were the findings. He declared the findings, I think, in 1972, if I'm not mistaken. And he said exactly that 55% of the impact of the message comes from your appearance and your body language, and 38% comes from the tonality of your voice, and only 7% from the content of what you actually speak. And it's exactly the reverse. We are, at least in India, we're all groomed to kind of be mug masters and, learn it up well and, speak well and all of that. So we're focusing really, really hard on the 7%. While that's good, but we ignore the 93%. And that's really sad. We need to focus on the entire 100%, right?
Sure.
But
Sure.
the good thing here is that the 93%, the ignored part, is not so hard. It's not rocket science and can be easily understood and mastered. And that's very important for every individual to understand. So more than often, in fact, this whole study I've put out in my thesis, which is there on the government website. But apart from that, it's also there in Prim and Powerful. And
Yes.
I have mentioned there very clearly also. See, the fact is, we have to understand this. Every individual has an image, regardless of it being good or bad, striking or repelling, constructive, unconstructive, whatever it is, but we all have an image. And
Sure.
that is in constant estimation by the outside world. You're constantly being engaged, and that's why it's very important to realize what sort of messages are you emitting? What kind of image are you creating because of that? And research has also gone to show that people form opinions in the very first few seconds of having met you, and more than often from your visual appearance. And that's how the 55% connects, right? Because people are watching you and they've already, got the halo or the horns effect coming out straight right there. And they know what they are anticipating. That necessarily need not mean that it's correct, but they've got a first impression that you've created. And you never get a second chance to create the first
Sure.
impression. So one has to understand that you need to leverage how that entire 93% is also worked upon in the best possible manner and create the impact in the right manner. So this research is a very valid one and very widely acclaimed. In the area of body language, in fact, Albert Mehrabian is called the father of body language. So it's a very widely known research. And I think people should be aware of it.
So, Kuljeit, time is really running out, and I want to quickly ask you to give us some hacks, if I may say so, that in today's ever-evolving times, what is your definition, and what is it that you would want people to follow in their personal and professional space, and to be really the best version of themselves? What would be those very precious inputs that you would like to give to people for them to really work on their own persona and image in both, like I said, personal and professional realm of life?
Okay, so I think first thing is the acknowledgement itself that they need to do something about their image. I think most of them don't even bother. So I think it's more in context with the fact that we don't even realize sometimes that we're making mistakes. We don't invest enough in ourselves. We're so consumed by ourselves that we forget the abundance of oxygen around us. And I think it's time sometimes to, kind of do a reality check to just figure out where we are. That's the starting step. That apart, I think it's important to be authentic. I think that's the first key, because I know I can speak for myself. When we're talking about being a true representation of yourself, just the unadulterated version of you, just yourself. Being authentic is extremely important to your image. Also being in alignment with your core foundation. I think you need to start asking yourself some questions and start understanding, what do you stand for? What is your basis of existence? What is your identity? Your uncorrupted individuality? What is it? What are those things that resonate with you? So I think that's very important in your journey towards making yourself a little more image driven and understanding yourself. See, life is full of experiences and you will constantly have challenges. But once you're in rhythm with yourself and there is a balance of your logic with your creativity and your understanding about yourself, you will find it easier to kind of build a good positive mindset, be an authentic representation of yourself, and have a vision to be able to plan ahead. It's very important also to invest in yourself continually. You can't just say that, okay, this will happen. It's not going to happen. You need to do something about it. Only then it's going to happen. Every thought leads to an action, and you know that. And eventually it'll create a habit, and that will determine your character. And
Absolutely.
in today's times, it's extremely important to build that reputation for yourself, because this is your unquestionable asset that you will hold for many, many years. It's the most tangible and marketable asset, your reputation. And that will come through your image that you have worked very systematically on for creating the desired impact. And also, having said that, just remember you were not born to be perfect, for heaven's sake. You were just born to
Yeah.
be real. So, rarity of perfection is a truth. Let's accept it and also accept the fact that we are born with imperfections and they make us unique in our own way. So, we just need to celebrate that uniqueness about us and just thrive in it and be authentic. I think that's the key that I want to, share for all your viewers.
Great. So that's a great perspective because this whole phrase of being the best version of yourself is so commonly used today. So I'm glad you've really been profound on it. And I'm going to now quickly ask you because it's amazing how your inputs and insights have been so interesting that when I look at the watch, I suddenly realize, oh my God, we're almost nearing the closure of the session. But I want to also quickly know that you are very passionate about empowering the youth and women, and you're very involved with a couple of projects, and one of them, of course, even I'm involved with you. So tell us more about some of the projects that you are working towards for women and for the youth, very quickly.
Yeah, so the first thing is PRIM Worldwide Mission Possible, where I'm on this endeavor to, impact n number of lives. I think I mentioned it earlier. The mission is right now to make a difference to at least 1 million. But apart from that, I do a lot of work with underprivileged kids, especially girls, who don't have the economic resources to kind of, hire a consultant and do all of that. So I just bring them home. I work on them. I kind of make them employable, if I may say, in a very brief manner. I build on their image. I take them out. I take them to parlors. I get them clothes. I take care of whatever they needs to be done, and I get them out. And I'm very happy that most of them have got great jobs today. They're doing very well. And that makes me very proud. So that's one. I'm also the All India chairperson for the All Ladies League. And I have women, again, across the country. I have chapters across the country. And what we're doing is we're percolating my entire science, the science of PRIM, into communities. So it's like a multiplier effect of sorts. So I have trained a section of people whom I call image angels. I've nicknamed that. I think they're angels. So they get trained by me and they percolate the knowledge further down. This is all a free thing, okay? This has got no commercial value there being attached. It's all for society and for improvement. And we try and engage with women there. Another thing is the Women Economic Forum, where I'm constantly engaging with women from across the globe. And I talk a lot there. I'm a global speaker. So there are a lot of talks that happen in India and abroad, of course. And from a whole plethora of topics. I don't even want to get there. There's like a wide range of topics that I deal with. I'm also associated with Wiki, the national president for Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and that's where you're part of my team, and I'm very happy that you're there. So, as you know, we're working on life skills and trying to, again, scientifically get a whole structure there, ready for the lakhs and lakhs of women of the country, and build a policy to be suggested to the government of India for implementation for the women. So that's another thing. I'm also an advisor to the Creative Women, which is a group from UK and, of course, internationally. And I'm also part of the Indian Women Pilot Association. And we keep doing work, of course. That's more aviation related. I work a lot with breast cancer NGOs because there's a lot of work that I do, especially with one of my, shall I say, concepts. It's an innovative concept called Premier, which is PRIM using expressive arts. So I do a lot of singing, dancing, theater, art, painting, etc., with women who are suffering from cancer. So that's another voluntary work that I do. And of course, I COVID volunteer. That, of course, has finished now. Last year, I spent a lot of time doing all of that. So I'm all the while in, all of these kind of groups. I think life is about creating something for yourself. It's not just about getting accolades. It's about giving. And I think gratitude for me comes internally. I just want to thank every person in society in my own little way. So this is just my own way of trying to engage with people.
Sure. So, with all these fantabulous insights, Kuljeit, I also want to end with making it a bit of fun because I know that you sing very well. And I'm not going to let you go without humming for my audience and adding that little zing to the whole program. So, गाना तो पड़ेगा. So, जल्दी से
मैं 2 लाइनें सुनाऊंगी फिर. Just 2 lines.
अगर 2 कम रही तो फिर मैं शायद 4 की गुंजाइश करूंगी, पर सुना दो बढ़िया था।
Okay. All right. So let me sing this. ऐसा लगता है जो ना हुआ होने को है, हो ऐसा लगता है अब दिल मिला खोने को है, वरना दिल क्यों धड़कता, सांसें क्यों रुकती, नींद मेरी उड़ जाती, ऐसा लगता है जो ना हुआ होने को है.
Wonderful, Kuljit, wonderful.
Thank you.
That's for you.
How sweet. Thank you. Thank you. And you caught me by surprise. I was not expecting to sing here.
Had to. I like to make my sessions wherever I know that I have my guest speakers with some sort of an innate talent. I like to bring it forth. So this is so wonderful, and
Thank you.
I'm going to be, of course, leaving the audience wondering ke kitna kuch Kuljit has shared and what all she has spoken about is, I'm sure not very easy to comprehend. So why don't you tell people how they should reach you, where they should get to know more about you?
Okay, so easiest is just remember the name. Kuijeit Uppaal with the spelling Kuiljeit, because I know my spelling is like very different. You can find me on probably all social media other than Twitter. I think I'm not yet on Twitter, but you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me at my website, kuiljeituppaal.com. You can connect with me on Facebook. I have a Facebook fan page too. You can connect with me on Instagram. So I'm pretty much there. You just remember the name is Kuljeit with, like I said, the weird spelling, if I may say. And yeah, I would love to connect. And if you have anything in terms of questions, just email info@kuiljeituppaal.com, and I'd be happy to, kind of answer your queries and we can stay connected.
So that spelling that Kuljit is referring to, viewers, is right there on the caption,
Yes.
and that will be taken down right from there. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Kuljit. Anything that I may have missed out on? Anything that comes to your mind that you want to quickly share with the audience?
I don't know. Okay, so I will probably address this to the audience because I know there's this proverb I hold very close to my heart. I've been saying this often, I think, on n number of platforms. I hope you're okay with me repeating it because I think it's very meaningful. But before that, I just want one more sentence, I think, before I share the proverb. Just remember, all of you are listening to me, that if you've had some takeaways from what I've shared today, remember, just having that desire to do something is going to do nothing. It's going to change nothing. But if you take a decision, it will change something. And your determination and perseverance to actually go past the whole journey, maybe you can start with reading the book itself, will change everything. But having said that, I'll come back to the proverb, and that's a Mexican proverb. It says, they thought they buried us. They didn't know we were seeds. I love this because it's such a deep meaning. No matter how deep you are under the soil, the fact of the matter is each one of us has that innate strength, innate Shakti to kind of build ourselves from there, to germinate and stand like tall, lovely, abundant trees that bear flowers and fruits and also provide shade to others. It's so beautiful, isn't it? I think life should be something like this. So I want to actually just wish your entire audience the very best in their journeys ahead. And I just hope everybody accepts life and the challenges of life as opportunities of introspection and evolution. And they just need to stay grounded and build themselves and, live life to the least. That's my last thought I think I'd like to share.
Wonderful, Kuljit. It's always so empowering and enthusing to hear you speak and get to know about your phenomenal experience and insights You are always so ever inspiring. And I think a lot of my viewers would have been able to really figure out, like I said in the beginning, that get to know who we are and what we want to be and how we can be. Because at the end of the day, in today's times, it's also about the survival of the fittest, really. So it is
Absolutely.
important to keep looking at yourself and also look at how you need to really master yourself inside out. So thank you so much, Kuljeit. What a wonderful session with you, and truly an enlightening one. So thank
Thank
you, and I will catch you soon, and hope to meet you soon in better times as well. Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you for the
thank you.
kind words.
Thank you, viewers, for being here with us today. And I hope there is a huge takeaway for all of you. And you are going to now keep following me on 10 News, I hope, every fortnight. And please keep a watch out for my announcements with such influential personalities in the weeks ahead and months ahead. So thank you very much for all of you for being here with us today. Thank you and bye-bye. Thank you, Kuljeit. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the audience. Love you all.
Yes. Bye bye.
Thanks, Deepali.